All right, grasshoppers. It is 10 o'clock Thursday morning. Actually, it's 10:01. What am I thinking about? A little late. Uh, um, Beautiful weather outside. Hey, first of all, our prayers go out to those people down in Florida there. The nasty storms, looks like, and the rain, flooding, and all that kind of stuff. So I hope everybody's all right. I don't know if we've got any listeners or followers in Florida. I know we used to. Who was that? It was Podwell lived in Florida, right? But I don't know what happened to him. We lost him. No, we didn't lose him like permanently. I just lost him as a viewer. Um, Beautiful weather here, though. Everything's nice. Father's Day coming up. How about? Doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but they get the Russians have got submarines in Cuba, like 200 miles away from our land. It's like, I guess it's not a big deal, I know. But all right, so the playoffs are back on again. Hold on here. Call it Jackie D. Piazza's calling here, but we'll have to call her back. What else is going on exciting? The Russians are invading. Hunter Biden has been found guilty. It's interesting how Biden, the father, was calling Trump a convicted felon, and now his own son's a convicted felon. So he could potentially, they say, get 25 years in jail. That'd be interesting to see what happens then, right? Because Mr. Biden, the president, has said he would not commute the sentence if that was the case. And see what happens now. It's his son too. I mean, I would like him or not. If you're a father and you have the ability to keep your son in jail, yeah, that's a tough one. I definitely would not want my son's going to jail if I could stop it. So, what else is happening here? Who's here? Who's here so far today? Quiet day. I think the weather's getting nice. There's Deb Anderson. Tom Smith was talking about what a great review you left for our podcast, the Full Change podcast. Thank you very much. There's Jessica Danahy. How are you doing, you magical creature? Game 3 tonight. That's right, Deb. Game 3 is tonight. Make sure to see what happens. A few things, right? So Barkov, whether he plays or not. How can Draisaitl only get like one, like a 2-minute penalty for he jumped, hit him right in the head? And saying Barkov practiced yesterday, so no likelihood he will play. Excuse me, allergies. Woo! I gotta get back on my turmeric. I haven't been taking turmeric as regularly as I should. Turmeric and ginger. I keep getting the hiccups. I don't know what it is. Morning there, magical veteran William Haynes in beautiful Chicago. I saw a video, not talking about Chicago, but saw a video of San Francisco. They had riots in the street, and that town's really turned into a nasty place. Yes, the allergies are usually they don't get me too bad, but again, I found turmeric really helped me because again, it's an anti-inflammatory, so it helps you stop your nasal passages from getting inflamed. And I've just been negligent with not taking that as often as I should. Actually, I tried getting some. Costco had gummies with ginger and turmeric in it together. Unfortunately, it's got a lot of sugar in it, though. I didn't realize how much sugar was in it. Susan Brooks, how are you doing, you magical creature? Do you think lost challenge? You know what? They've had 2 days off. The time change used to bother you more. Like if we came from New York, went out to West Coast, it would bother you more going that way, I believe. But these guys now, they fly private jets, and they know all about diets and hydrating properly and everything. So it's going to be the same both teams, obviously. So they might be a little bit slower starting off, but what's good. I mean, obviously we've heard it before, but Game 3 is the most important game of the series. A lot of people think because Edmonton's case, if they lose, now they're down 3-0. All Florida needs is one more win with 2 games at home. But the home ice advantage doesn't mean much anymore either. I heard Ray Ferraro was talking about it too, where the home ice advantage used to mean a lot back in the day when it's more the intimidation factor, the home crowd. Okay, you go in places that were supposed to intimidate, like the old Boston Garden, Spectrum, and Philadelphia, and all that stuff. So that was more intimidating. But now it doesn't. It does help the home team coach because he gets the last change, but that's easily. You just tell your team, okay, listen, once the play starts, you don't need to change it right away. So it really doesn't mean all that much. It should, especially face-offs. in the offensive zone for a team to get the guys on they want. So obviously with Edmonton, as much as they can, when they have a face-off in the Florida zone, they're going to want Draisaitl and McDavid on the ice. We'll see, but other than that, it doesn't mean a whole lot. So what else is happening in the world? It's kind of quiet, I guess, right? Summer kids are all out of school and all that. But it'd be interesting to see what happens tonight in Florida. Their team, they showed we saw it against the Rangers where they can play the same way at home and on the road, so shouldn't really change much. But it got a little nasty, which you expect once teams are playing against each other a few games, and then a game gets out of hand. How about the forearm sure the punch that Kane gave Tkachuk there going off the ice? Oh, smoked him. Yep, no AC. We'll see if it gets to the summer I did well. Last 2 summers, right? I think I used it a little bit last year. I remember what time I thought I'd gotten COVID. It was so hot and I was just sweating, so I put it on. But the summer before, where I didn't use it all, it really is. You get to that point where you just like it's irrelevant to you. You just don't think of it. And again, I kept thinking that growing up, for me and my parents, my parents never had air conditioning in any home they ever lived in. So growing up for me, yeah, it was just the way it was. It's not a big deal. I think a lot of countries around the world, like Thailand and the Philippines and all those places where they don't really have, most cases just don't have a lot of money, and they don't have air conditioning. This is the way it is. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Right. So prediction for tonight's game. That's going to be interesting. I keep waiting for Skinner to have a bad game, and he hasn't, to his credit, because he has been kind of an up and down goaltender. But Bobrovsky looks like he's on fire. So I'd think more likely that Skinner would be due for a bad game for Edmonton than Bobrovsky would be for Florida, and that's going to be a big difference too. If he, if one goaltender has a bad game, then here comes. Oh, God. Oh, excuse me. Hiccups here. Tom, I'm heading to Sarnia, Ontario for a union conference. Do you know any hospice to check out? I don't know Sarnia that well. I don't. It's I think I may have only been there once when I was an agent to watch a game, so I don't know that area that well. It's been so long since I've been back there too. Even if it was like a place like my hometown, Brampton. Again, somebody wrote me. Was it Scott Cooper or I can't remember who it was, telling me that the old Sword and Shield, the strip joint in Brampton, Ontario, was gone. That was an institution. I don't know why we skip school when you're a teenager when you want to go and sit in a strip joint, eat hard-boiled eggs, 25-cent draft beer. Oh man, Oilers need to take the next 2 games to have any chance at all. Yeah. If they go back to Florida down 3-1, that's a tough ask. But it's just, it's interesting. And I don't mean this as a criticism of Florida, obviously, and we saw them against the Rangers. I just don't think they're that talented team. They're talented enough. It's just their team game is just incredible. Bobrovsky comes up with big saves, like he's back on his game again. But it's they just the team game. Paul Maurice has turned in. I think he's gotten me a better and better coach, understanding. I'm really getting to like him more and more because his ego is not involved in this at all. In fact, he comes up and says that he's really, not that important in the whole scheme of things. They've got a team there. So I think that's important in coaching to realize. And listen, if the guys are going, just stay out of the way, let them go. Who's really done a good job there is Bill Zito, and I knew him a little bit when we were both agents, and I was kind of shocked when he got the role. I just didn't think, not that he wasn't an intelligent guy or anything like that, but he's done a fantastic job. I mean, go back to when they won the President's Trophy, 4 years ago, or it was, and he basically said, I don't think he said it publicly, but he realized, okay, that's great that we won the President's Trophy, but we're not built. This team isn't built to win a Stanley Cup. So he made some changes. Obviously, the big trade getting Tkachuk, really, that was a big start for him. And again, there's a certain amount of luck involved. Tkachuk was available, but he still had to pull the trigger. Everybody else in the league could have done the same thing, but he got it done. And he gave up a lot for him too. And I think he realized, that's I have to do that. I want to get this player. He's really going to change our team. So he did that. And, excuse me. You ever do that to somebody where somebody can say, I like to do it like older ladies, especially. Excuse me, squeeze you. All right, sure, I'll squeeze you. They're looking at you like, what are you nuts? Get away from me. Actually, sometimes you gotta be careful. You don't want to look like you're a pervert, but you think some older ladies, oh, that's so cute. Squeeze me. Did that at Jackie's wedding, actually. There's a woman working there, sweet older woman, and I don't think her English was that great. And she was walking by or something. She said, "Excuse me." I said, "Squeeze you?" Okay, so we went up and gave her a big hug. She was at first she was kind of like weird, and then she started realizing, okay, I was harmless. And she started laughing, so all night we were joking around. I might have got up dance with her too. Maybe not. She was working. Jackie D. Piazza's wedding. That was a fun wedding during the summer, last summer. One of the best. Like, oh man, they have good food. We walked in the place at first. They had like a hors d'oeuvre set up, like all kinds of sushi and everything. And a lot of stuff that was going to be the meal, which would have been fine. So we had that. Sat around there, we went in, and then the reception was another meal. Really cool too, the way they did it. Usually, like they're bringing out food, so not everybody at the table gets their food at the same time. With this one, they had so many people working that they all brought out food for everybody at the table at the same time. So all the plates were set down at the same time. It's just kind of cool. Excuse me. And then there's leftovers, and they came around with leftovers. I've never seen that kind of stuff before. It's really well organized wedding reception. And then even the way Jackie and her husband Matt did it too, it was like they would spread out the speeches, so it was like an hour of speeches or whatever. Like some people get up and talk, party, dancing, a whole bit. So it was they cut it loose pretty good. There's a few cocktails floating around that night, and it was good. It was a fun wedding. And listen, it's the bride and groom's night, so they want to do it the way they want to do it. But sometimes they can get a little boring with too many speeches, but these were good. So a lot of fun. Jackie D. Piazza Farrell. And her husband, Matt, he works for the National Hockey League, so they're a big hockey family. So what else is going on? Weddings. I don't get invited to weddings. I'm in that age group where, I guess, some guys, kids are getting older, so they're getting married. I talked to a real nice guy the other day, Steve Ryan. I don't know if anybody remembers him. He used to work for the National Hockey League. Him and I remain friends. And he's got the grandkids and everything, getting married now, so he got a full summer of going to weddings. It's just gotta, you're gonna go through his phases in life. Weddings. Oh gosh, weddings. I've had two of those. Actually, my second wedding, my second wife, she's a very wonderful person. She didn't want to have a big wedding. So we just got married at Justice of Peace and went on a honeymoon. And then I came back and had a party once we went back. Her mother's a sweetheart too. Her mother passed away. She's very thoughtful. She gave a gift to I guess it's for both of us. They gave my wife, ex-wife then, for our honeymoon. She gave her lingerie, which was, thank you. That was very nice. Very thoughtful. Came in useful. How's Maverick? Maverick's good. So we're at that stage. So now it's Father's Day, obviously Sunday. Hold on one second. I'll tell the story here. Happy third birthday, great Martha. Said that she has totally ostracized him. Oh, really? I didn't see that. Wow, that's strange. Is he the one who got in trouble with some woman or something? Did he do something kind of nasty? Okay, so Father's Day is coming up. No, I love my sons to death. You guys all know that. Great relationship with them. But it's Father's Day, so I just wanted to have a nice little quiet. Go to the son that lives closest to me. They've really fixed up their backyard and everything, got it all set up, the smoker and all that kind of stuff. So let's have the barbecue, and that's fine. Now, my younger son, Cody, who I love very much, he lives in a building up in Stanford with, the pool and barbecues and the whole bit. So now he wanted to take control of the whole thing. Have this big soiree, go to the pool and everything. I was like, oh, God. So, but, they're my sons, so we'll suck it up a little bit. He called me the hermit the other day. I guess I've turned into, if there's something going on, I love being with people. Like, I had the video at school there a week ago and had a blast. But if I had time with myself, I enjoy my time with myself too. So, happy Father's Day to everybody coming up, all the great fathers out there. It is different, Father's Day and Mother's Day, though, right? Mother's Day is a day for the mother to get pampered, I think, more. Father's Day is, okay, come on over, and like in some cases, the father cooks, and I guess that's the father's role. as the father's role. What else we got going on? Happy Father's Day to you, William. I hope you're not working on Father's Day. How many kids do you have, William? We'll find out here. Anyways, I think he said he got the. Can't remember what he said. I mean a lot more guys now, guys and girls. Like my oldest son's like that now, and his wife, Leah, have decided for now, anyways, they don't necessarily want to have kids. I think it's more. I see more people like that. Oh, Bill's got 5 kids. Ooh, man. They know what causes that, Bill. He stop doing that. I'm just kidding. Oh, look at the lovely bride there. That was that picture you didn't have all the time there, did you? Was that your daughter or is that your wife? Or I can't really see. That's a different picture, isn't it? 3 boys and 2 girls. Great job, Bill. Great job. Having kids, you don't realize. Like I've talked to a few people. For people that haven't had kids, having kids is one of the best things you ever do, but it's one of the hardest things you ever do too. That's your wife. Wow, Bill, you studly muffin, you. She's gorgeous. You must be a good talker. I'm kidding you. I'm kidding you. Wow, let's take a look at that again, Bill. Well done. Good job, Billy boy. People call you William or Bill. I know you listed it as William here. Goodness. Excuse me. It was Tracy Marie's birthday yesterday. So I sent her a happy birthday. I don't know where she's been. I forgot to ask her where she's been. She responded to my happy birthday when I texted her. Let me see here. So Bill's kids, let me see how old they are. Here, 30, 28. Wow. Got busy there for a while. Yeah. Guess you're home too much. Catholic. Bill. All right. So we're going to call you Bill from now on. Then. Billy Haynes. Remember I gave you a hard time before when you first got on the show. Haynes underwear. 31 years. Oh, I was married twice and did total 31 years, Bill. Good job by you. You sound like a good family man too. Hold on, Barry Shelley's in the house. God, he said, when are you heading to? You're heading over to Toronto pretty soon, I think. We're going to the Hall of Fame. Very cool. I don't know. In Wayne Gretzky's restaurant that he had, I heard that's closed now. But he had a copy of the score sheet from when he broke Gordie Howe's record, which I insisted on one of his points. That it was the tying point, actually, to tie Gordie Howe. So he used to have his restaurant. I wonder if they have that over in the Hall of Fame now, but that's pretty cool. So I don't think I've been in the Hall of Fame before. Oh, God. Wait. So everybody gives you the Haynes underwear thing. Yeah, makes sense. I'm not that intelligent, I guess, right? I didn't think of that. Oh, what else has happened in the world? So we got Cuba inviting the Russians to come and play on the beach with their submarines. And it seems like it's not that big of a story. To me, it's a pretty decent story. I mean, the Russians got to, and I'm assuming they're weaponized, those submarines. They're 200 miles from our coast. But I guess there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't ever know about. It's usually going to have a civil war. Well, I hate to say it, but I think things need to change. But because again, my belief is, we've talked about this before, that we don't run our country. That's the way it was set up, was that the citizens made the decision on the way things are supposed to go. And now it's big money, the Bill Gates and all the BlackRock and State Street and all this kind of stuff to make decisions. And the only way that's going to change is if the citizens take back the country, and that means civil war. I don't know how that would. Yes, I don't know what it is, Barry. It goes away, and then I haven't had it like this before. It'll go away, and I don't know what the difference is. I think sometimes when I'm fasting in the morning, because then when I eat, it goes away. So I'm fasting right now. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's annoying. But it just comes and goes. It's kind of funny. I looked it up. I don't know how it was caused. I looked up why you get the hiccups, but there's all these things. You drink water upside down. Tell you, I would scare myself. Look in the mirror. Um, so Trudeau thinks we're going to have a civil war. Trudeau's not, I don't know him as well, but apparently the people up in Canada just hate him. That he's just going to change that country around a lot. I see some of the debates they have. Like they have really kind of a different setup where the government, where they all the senators, where they all meet, and then they have like a debate all the time. They're getting up and they're yelling at each other, and it's more like a British setup. You can't let them. You can get them if you eat too fast. Eat too fast. Okay, swallowing too much air. That might be it. Let me see here. We're close to it, and so is Canada. From what I hear, I work for CN and I talk to Canadians every day. Trudeau thinks the U.S. is going to have a civil war. Like in the true sense, like what the Civil War was before, like fighting the North against the South kind of mentality. I guess it would be the Republicans against the Democrats. Well, I don't know. Yeah, hey, listen, there's a lot of things going on. If you look back and think, I can't believe that's really happening but stuff is happening though. So, how about I saw a couple of videos of people talking about the whole conflict over there with Israel and the Palestinians, and it's interesting how they use a comparison that when Japan attacked us and killed 2,200 people, we then attacked Japan and killed millions of people. So Israel's getting picked on right now because they think people are saying that they're overdoing it in response. But it's like that's what countries do. Like when you declare war, you go to war to win. So I don't know all the details, but just what some of these guys were saying, they had a whole list of other conflicts that got on in the past and how the response from one country was way over the top from what actually started the whole conflict. But people are not seeming to treat Israel the same way. That's just what these guys say. Eating too fast can cause hiccups because it can irritate the diaphragm. Oh, when you eat too quickly, your stomach fills up and becomes distended, that constant involuntary. Oh wow, I didn't know that. You and Susan Burks come up with some fantastic information. Let me see here. Sovereign citizens wanting to take back the country. They don't trust the government. Well, that's true. But do you think we'll ever get to the point where people are actually going to arm themselves and take back government? I mean, something's got to change unless we keep going this way. The more research I do, they talk about the foods that there's another conspiracy theory maybe, but a lot of people believe that the foods that we're eating are poisoning us. They're not made to be healthy. Like the breads, I've learned more and more about bread. Where like you go to breads and like the bread made in the U.S. here, they don't. In a lot of the countries, they don't allow it to be sold. It's all the junk they put in the breads. So I'm saying that already. My wife's parents live in Italy, and they all think we're heading for super. Well, I guess when we're right in the middle of it, we don't think about it that much. But if you're other countries, you're looking at what's going on, you're thinking, yeah. Because all the thing about, look at the past history where, the government's trying to take away your guns and everything. And I'm a big Second Amendment, right? Gun guy. Guns, that amendment was made for the citizens to protect themselves from the government. And here it is, our government trying to limit our availability to have weapons. So I hope we can come to a peaceful agreement. I agree with you. I guess, I don't know. I just think that it doesn't matter what we think as people. This is terrible to me, and I'm not happy saying this. I didn't always think this way, but I just think that our vote doesn't matter anymore. Again, the big money is making decisions. What's going on in the country? I mean, you look at. I hate to say it, but we talked about before. There's another video out there that had was a Juneteenth celebration that Biden was at, and everybody up on stage was dancing and everything. He's just standing there, staring in one place the whole time. My feeling is I feel bad for the man. He's totally out of it. I mean, some of the videos they have out there, people put like compilations of him misspeaking, and it's just hilarious. But again, if I was his son or I was his father or his wife or something like that, it's like, man. Let me see here. Tom, do you ever think that we have been invaded within the process? Yeah, I do. some of the people I talk to, so some of these millions of people that have come in, there's been police that have found them in the woods training. These people that invaded our country, come to the southern border. So that's what a lot of people really believe, that the people are already, once something happens, and if another country wants to attack us, but I think a lot of other people believe that we're already at war. But it's a different kind of war. It's cyber war. That's just, to me, it's not scary stuff. Like the whole AI thing really drives me nuts. I think watch these old movies where the machines kind of take over. They don't allow anybody to hurt them, so now they take over the whole world. So I don't know. I just hate to be negative, but let me see. Yeah, what do we got? Let me see. Started really covered it, mic'd up. Great, yeah, pretty cool. You know what he did was really, really cool that we've done in our book. And the book is done, by the way. It's on me to get things done here. It's just like I had to give away my first child to get on Amazon, so I was just gonna regrouping on that. But let me see here. What we got? That must be the Second Amendment on firearms. Yeah, I agree. I stopped the process because it was so complicated. But I was getting a concealed weapon years ago. Concealed weapon permit. I had to go through. It's the state of New York. Had to go through a whole process, and part of the process was getting interviewed by a police officer, and I forget his name. I won't mention his name anyways because I don't know if you want this public. But he said to me in the conversation, he said that he thinks that everybody. I think he went as far as to say, "I wished everybody owned a gun," because you think about it, like all the places it's terrible. These school shootings. So if somebody's sick enough and they want to go kill people. Well, they want to do it with the least resistance. So they go to a school where it's kids and there's no, they don't go into a police station and start opening fire, right? Because everybody's got guns there. So I just believe that everybody had guns. Our whole all the crime going on and everything. Like you go to the city now, like I told you about looking at videos at San Francisco. When we were in Vegas a few months ago, sat at a restaurant and young woman and her husband were there, and they're from Minneapolis, and they were saying it's horrible in Minneapolis now, the violence, the crime, and I used to be like, Minneapolis was it was a beautiful city when we went there to play. So it's almost like they don't want you to see, the news doesn't want you to see how bad some of these cities are. So. Yes, cyber war. That's right. Deb's in that business. Yes, so she sees that stuff firsthand. So, cybersecurity and everything. Yeah, and again, and once in a while it hits the news. Like months ago, there was a story about Vegas, how the casinos were all hacked into. You couldn't use the elevators, and it seemed like it was a big deal to me. And I think maybe Deb was telling me that happens all the time. Get these people hack in, and then they pay them a ransom, and they're back to work. It's almost part of the cost of doing business. So, yeah. Yes, Susan. Jerry West, what a gentleman he was too. I met him. It's like I knew him, but I met him out in L.A. and he was as he seemed in public. Yeah. Portland. Yeah. Again, these cities. You talk to people that live there, and they tell you the truth. But again, it's like it's not on the news. They don't want the rest of us to know. Down Manhattan, it's like Times Square area. It's like smoke a pot. You can't get away from it. The people, urinating in the streets and pooping on the streets and everything. And again, it's gotten to the point where we talked about this, where you walk by, you look at the faces of other people, it doesn't even affect them anymore. Like this one guy was urinating in the street, and a woman walked by facing him. Very attractive woman. Wasn't even fazed by it. Wasn't like she looked like she was grossed out or anything. It's like she just looked, didn't pay attention, walked by. I'm sure she'd seen it so many times before. So, first election would be the most important history. So here's a story. And again, you hear it on Reels or whatever. A lot of people think that Biden won't get the election. He'll drop out, and that the choice would be to take over a spot would be what's his name, Obama's wife or husband, whatever you want to call him. How about was it Phyllis Diller right before she died? She made the comment that Obama was gay and then his wife was really a man. I think it was her, right? And then she died shortly after that. Then there's all these pictures where you show her up dancing, and that Phyllis Diller is Obama's wife, and it looks like And again, I'm sure they could have doctored the picture, but it looked like she had a penis. Like, so like all this stuff started. I'd never heard that before, but then once you see things, they also said, and I looked it up. I don't think you could. They said that you can't find any old pictures of her pregnant. Now maybe that's not true. I don't know. I did look it up, and I didn't find any, but I wasn't like I sat there for hours searching the internet. But interesting theories out there. Again, I've talked about this where I've got to be careful sometimes because again on Instagram you go through those reels and you hear all this stuff and it kind of makes sense, but then you find out later none of it's true. Like there's this guy who talked about Gary. He claims to be this expert in health, food, and everything. So he makes all these statements. Like he had this one comment. He says, one day, these doctors got 26,000 people in a room and tested them all. And I'm thinking, okay, 26,000 people in a room. That's a football stadium. In one day, he tested them. So he makes all these, and he's one of these guys too. He says, well, 85% of this, and this is the best thing to do. And there's one guy, like it seems like more of a scientist, who really debunks all that stuff. It's pretty entertaining because like it's his mission to make sure people know the truth. Because this guy was trying to claim there was in this energy drink 4 times the limit for some chemical. And so this other guy came on now and explained the whole thing, how this guy took it wrong. He must have read some passage. And the guy says, here's what's happened. He's taken this one scientific word for some chemical or whatever, and he's used it the wrong way. So, yeah. Let me see. Tom, was your father a dairy farmer at Norval? My father was a dairy farmer, just outside of Brampton, Ontario. Yeah, we weren't actually in the city. So if you went up Highway 10 out of Brampton, and back then when we lived there was no side. The streets were not named. There was names to them. It was like the first line west or the first line east, and second line east and all that kind of stuff based on where the road was. So we were in the first line west. Yeah, first line west, right up Highway 10. Actually, I've seen pictures of it. So we sold the farm when I was like 15 or 16, and it didn't get developed for a while, but I think it's all developed up there now. So where's Norval? I can't remember Norval. Was it? Sounds familiar. Like I should remember that. So it's gotten worse, Bill. Well, what a shame, God. And again, I just think it's. I mean, like all, and I'm not being prejudiced at all, but it's like these people coming from other countries, and it's not all. They talk about all the fentanyl use like it's coming up through the southern borders as fentanyl killing those people. So, not a pretty sight. Not a pretty sight. As you know, it's really important to stay positive in life, not look at all the negative, but it's getting worse and worse. See, like my hiccups. Go eat. What else? Let's get on some cheery stuff. Is there any cheery stuff going on out there? So the U.S. Open, the golf tournament's on, right? I'm not a big golfer, but my buddies, when I listen to Boomer and Gio in the morning, they're big into golf. They had a guy on, God, he was Tiger Woods' first agent. He worked at IMG, and I think I worked with him. I couldn't remember his name. That was a long time ago. But he'd written a book and telling some interesting stories. He got a little negative, like a little bitter about because he got fired by Tiger. So he's a little critical. There's a little bit of that vengeance going on there. But he also told some really interesting stories because he obviously knew him really well. So really interesting perspective in the way Tiger acts off the golf course. But again, we touched on it at the start of the show. I hope everybody, if we have anybody that's down in Florida, but okay, because a lot of looking at the flooding and everything is nasty. College World Series starts. Oh, nice, very nice. That's entertaining. I like that. The thing is, the aluminum bats too. So they're not allowed using aluminum bat pro, but they can in college. Right? I don't know why that is. Excuse me. So the Yankees are on fire. The Mets are not. That's kind of disappointing, right? I think everybody thought when Steve Cohen came in, the multi-billionaire, that things are going to change. But that's right, Normal. Okay. So no, we were pretty much right north of Brampton, Georgetown. The Georgetown. I played with a bunch of guys from Georgetown. Played hockey with the Popeil brothers, and they're really good players, good team guys, and everything. I think older brother was a great lacrosse player too. Lacrosse up in Canada, like that area, it's more in different pockets, but that whole area around Brampton and everything, the Brampton Excelsiors, I think that's what they're called, Brampton Excelsiors. They so we play box lacrosse up there, and it goes up to be like a men's league. I don't know if you call it a pro league, but it's a big thing up there. So Brampton seemed like it was always Brampton and somebody near Vancouver. I can't remember where it was, but they were really the hotbeds for box lacrosse. That was a big sport. Like you said, I was playing box lacrosse, so we played during the summer, and then obviously it'd be a little bit of an overlap, and then hockey starts to go right into hockey, and then same thing on the other end, hockey would be coming down to an end, and lacrosse was starting. I was actually a big goal scorer in lacrosse. That was pretty good, but there was really no future in it. So and I wanted to play hockey. So my old buddy Tom McLeod, him and I, we decided, okay, that's enough lacrosse. We're going to stick to hockey. And Tom McLeod, what a good athlete he was. He was a better player than I was. He just had a little wild streak to him. Got in trouble. I told the story. I actually saw him. I was playing. I was back home and got in touch with him. He was, working then, and wife and kids and the whole bit. And it was good to see him, but I felt bad because I think once he saw me, he thought, "Oh God, I screwed up," because excuse me again, he was a better player than I was, so he should have made it. It just didn't work out for him. So, but he's got a great life going on now. So Tommy McLeod used to hang out. We used to have sleepovers, and he was a wild man. Everybody always wanted to come to the farm where we lived. I wanted to get off the farm. Slow progression early. Oh, it is approved. I'd heard that's been coming for a while, right? That they thought that's something. I've learned more too. And again, I don't want to influence people and not take the drug, but really the exercise and food you eat too can really help a lot with that. We were going to get Bob Nystrom on our show, but I don't think he's got Alzheimer's. I should be careful. I think he's just more worried that his memory isn't where it was, so he was hesitant to get on. But again, I should be careful there. I don't want to make it seems like he's got Alzheimer's because I don't know that. He got banged around a lot. He hit other people and punched other people. He hit himself playing a physical game. So that does concern a lot of guys as they're getting older. The age part of it, mental health. What else going on exciting in the world? So we've got the Russians invading. World Series is coming on. Floods in Florida. Millions of people coming over the southern border. That's amazing to think that millions of illegal immigrants have come through the southern border in just a short period of time. And so why wasn't that happening before? I guess they had tighter restrictions and everything. 4 hostages were released. Yeah, you see some of the stories the women talking about that were hostages, the rapes and beatings and all that kind of stuff. Man, some sick stuff going on. So we couldn't just take a pill and say, "Everybody, stop!" For God's sake, if we just stopped all the wars and everything, all the stuff, and just get rid of the whole system where there's no money, so you just people were bartering stuff and everything. Money's God. Bobby was tough. Yes, he was tough, man. Yeah, not just physically tough, but mentally tough too. He said to me one time, he's a good intimidator too. We were in a playoff series and I was hitting him and stopped his play. He was mad. And he goes, "I let you hit me." It's one of those ones I looked at him and go, "Well, there's really no comeback." I'm going to say thank you. Yeah, it was funny though. I know I've told the story so many times. I actually misremembered it too. I thought I didn't go down when he hit me with the forearm shiver, but man, he smoked me, and I didn't. I don't know why I didn't see it coming because I knew who he was and whatever. He just you see the video where he smacked me. I was almost out of my feet, and I finally fell down. Then I got up and finished. I don't think I played anymore. It's like right in the hands. Like a minute to go, and there's a video of me walking off the ice. Looked like I was fine, and then I guess that I didn't remember what was going on at that point. Went in the locker room. And I guess I was sitting there babbling, and everybody else had gotten undressed. And I'm sitting there with all my gear on still, and I stood up to go somewhat get where I was going, and just apparently I fell down. So they had to get the stretcher and take me up. That's the only time I've left that place in the stretcher. That's right too. Yeah, only time I ever left the rink in the stretcher. Oh yeah, him and Cochran were. I think I heard a story somewhere too where Nystrom was saying that Cochran was one of the few guys that he was really leery. He didn't say he was afraid of, but he was really leery about fighting. Cochran was tough. Lost him recently too. Man, we lost some players. Yeah, we have people supporting him up. Let's see, I know. God, like they're putting the red paint in the places. Oh, man, this is sick stuff out here. Like you have your beliefs, but I don't know what. But I think a lot of my belief is a lot of these protesters get paid by rich people for whatever reasons. New Westminster salmon belt. That's right. Good job, Murray. Yep. Yeah, and they seem like they were always playing for the Canadian Championship. That was fun. Those are tough old guys too. Again, I don't think they got paid very much. I think it was like they all had should be jobs, but they just did this as a kind of a hobby thing. But you think back to the National Hockey League, back with the Gordie Howe days and Bobby Hull, they had to work during the summer. Those guys, they didn't make enough money playing in the NHL to not work. So there's a great picture of Bobby Hull with the fork picking up a bale of hay. He was ripped too. Oh man, Bobby Hull. He was a beer drinking hockey player. Man, he's a fun guy. He was a mushroom. Somebody said that to me one time. He was a fun guy. I didn't get it. Fungus, fun guy. Yeah. Did Bobby Nystrom beat Nicky? Wow. One of the few times, and I wouldn't even necessarily say he got beat, but one of the few times that he maybe didn't get the best of the guy was when Gordon Lane actually had a battle with Nicky. It was a big preseason game. It had a huge brawl, like bench clearing brawl. It's so weird to think back about that. It proved nothing. We had these brawls. We play the same teams all the time in the regular season. Then we play them in the playoffs. And so why would we bother playing them in preseason games? And then Phil Esposito was one of the first guys to say, "Why are we playing these guys? Playing the Flyers, playing the Islanders?" And it's just a gong show. Nobody cared. Winning the game didn't matter. Yeah, Nystrom was strong, and he was tough, and he'd take on anybody. I saw videos where they're playing the Flyers, and one guy went after Kenny Moore, who wasn't a fighter at all. Bob just stepped in and just smoked the guy. Oh yeah, Nicky was tough, absolutely. Yeah, yes, he was strong man too. Like he was that farm boy. He wasn't a farm boy, but he was farm boy strong too. He was pretty good, and he knew what his role was too. I think I don't blame him. He always wanted to be more of a player. But I can tell you, and I know I've said this story so many times, but he makes me laugh every time I think about it when Herb was coaching. And Herb really liked Nicky a lot too. But he wanted him to play like this, a certain stop. He wanted to go straight forward. That's it. Whereas Nicky, especially at the Garden, the crowd loved him so much. Whenever Nicky got the puck on a stick, the crowd would start going nuts. And I'll never forget Dave Maloney and I. So Herb came down and told us, don't pass to Nicky. Like, so we go D to D, and then Nicky would be up on the boards at the red line. And if we passed it to him, he'd come back in, get the big loop going and everything. His back skates are kicking up, and the crowd's going nuts. So Herbie told us not to. We were going on the ice, and he said, "Don't pass the Nicky up there." So I'm with Dave, and he's more of a veteran player at that point. And I said, "Dave, what are we gonna do?" And he starts laughing. He says, "We're passing Nicky." So I think if I pass to Dave or vice versa, whoever had the puck passed it up to Nicky, and Herb's losing his mind on the bench. It's a funny scene because Nicky's just so zoned in. The crowd has got him all wound up, and again, he's a New York kid. He's at the Garden. He's carrying neutral zone, and everybody in the other team is just standing there waiting for him to, because they don't chase him and just wait for him to get to you, and then you check him. So we're in the ice laughing. And Nicky's got wound up, and then he usually would get to the blue line and take this wrist shot. He had really strong wrist and everything. It's like he had the back foot kicked up and everything. He had this whole flare to him, and the crowd's going nuts. And then puck gets in the zone. He goes in and runs up. And it was funny because then you go back to the bench, and Herb's losing his mind. But Nicky's not going to change to it. He gets so wound up. I don't think he wasn't going against Herb, but it was just that he was so fired up on the ice. His mind just went blank. The crowd got him. Cold so much. Yeah, you know what? Really nice man too. I met him. I think we talked about it in Dallas. He's living in the Dallas area now. He's a pilot, and he never played for Dallas, but he can still be a part of their alumni because he lives down there. And what a nice man! Like I'll never forget. So they had us in their alumni room. It was a really nice room, and they had this chef. They're making fantastic food, all kinds of sushi and everything. And we're all trying our best to clean up after ourselves, not leave garbage around and everything. But also, so now just he starts grabbing a garbage bag, goes around and picks up everybody else's garbage. Excuse me, you'd almost think that he was working there, but it's South. He's just being a good guy. And then he went and got a wet cloth and wiped off all the. And I think it's like the Dallas guys, just because he did it all the time. It was no big deal to them. We don't have to clean up after each other, and we're all trying to do our best. But he really took charge and cleaned up the room. It's just cool to watch him. And he had really like that soft-spoken guy. But he was tough when he played too. I wouldn't say he was a real. He was kind of like light heavyweight. I don't know if he wasn't like a Dave Semenko kind of guy, whatever. But so we're going to. So I'm going to be on Chris Nyland's podcast. We're recording that on Monday. Excuse me, and he's going to get give Barry Beck's email as well. So Barry's going to be on that. So in return, he's going to give me Dave Brown's email. So we'll have Dave Brown on our Full Change podcast, which should be the most hated man in Ranger history. Wouldn't he be right up there? He'd got to be the most hated guy, and maybe Ben Wilson's up there too. But I think just at the Garden when he cross-checked Thomas Sanson with the neck, jaw, or whatever it was, got a 10-game suspension, I think, before too. So, but what a nice man. I met him. I think he was scouting. I think he used to work for the Rangers. I don't know if he does still now or not. But really surprising too. Like you said, when you meet him, played against him, just like a sweet guy, like a really nice man. And you're like, who the heck are you? But that goes for most of those tough guys like that. But I actually told him a story, and he didn't remember it, but we've got to fight the preseason game. I don't know what the heck I was doing, thinking about fighting him. And I could tell he was taking it easy on me. And it kind of made me mad more because, like, okay, give me a rest. And then I tried to sucker him at the end of the fight. And you go back to the bench, or the penalty box. And back then at the Spectrum, there was no glass separating. There was the 3 or 4 guys working the clock and doing the timing and all that kind of stuff. So it's wide open. You can talk to each other. And he's calm and relaxed and everything. He goes, Tommy, what are you doing? He says, I took it easy on you. And I think I said something like, I don't know what I'm even thinking about. And everybody was laughing, all the timekeepers and everything, because we just got in this fight. And it was, again, he took it easy on me. And then he's having this really nice conversation with me. It was a preseason game. He didn't want to be doing that. So good guy. So we'll get him on the show. That'll be interesting to hear his take on fly. And again, he's had some scraps too. Like I don't know if I really viewed him. I guess he was like a heavyweight champ there for a while. Saw a podcast with Stu Grimson, how he talked about he came in. Grimson was with Calgary at the time, and Dave Brown was with with Edmonton. So big rivalry between those. So Grimson came in and beat Brown. It was in back-to-back games. I think the first one was in Edmonton, and Grimson beat him the first night. And then the guys all said, "You better keep your head up because the next game." Brown got him and broke his jaw or his cheekbone or something like that too. So let me see. Yeah. Oh, sick. I've told this before where we had on Flocky Hockey, Ron Flocker, and he was very open, saying he was rooming with Ben Wilson at the time. He had to go to the management and say, "Listen, you got to move me. This guy's nuts." And Ben Wilson, they'd have like a scrimmage during the day. And he was doing stuff, and he'd do something to Flockhart, and then he'd come to the room after. He'd say, "Listen, I'm sorry, I just lost my mind. This is a training camp, a scrimmage against your own teammates," and he was still doing that stuff. So, and the scary thing was he was a really good player too. Wilson could do it all. He's a power play guy, penalty kill, could hit. Obviously fought, but stupid stuff. I watched some old videos of our games against him. The stuff he would do, like he just like smacked Eddie Mio over the head, just skated by him, smacked him over the head. But it wasn't like there was nothing going on. And it wasn't like he tried to, like, it wasn't like a baseball swing. It was just hard enough for him to get a penalty. And it was a pointless play. It served no purpose whatsoever. So, Ben Wilson. Yeah. Oh God, no, I'm sure part of it. No, I don't. To honestly, I was going to say that part of was that it's more like the Eddie Hospital. Like Eddie was smart. Like he would do things intentionally to make people think that he's just a nutcase. I don't think Eddie really was, but he was smart enough to build that reputation. So, you told me about that before, wasn't it? Him and Kirk Fraser in there one time. He was drinking my Grand Majority. He's still alone. Yeah. There's some different dudes. I wonder what he's doing right now. God, Bill, I'm sorry about this, but your wife is beautiful. God damn, I'm not trying to be pervert here, but well done. 31 years too, man. I mean, this is a compliment to people that are been married for a long time. I mean, you really have to. I think you really have to work at it too, right? Because you're with that same person for a long time. You've got to, there's going to be times where it's inevitable with any person for that length of time. I know you love each other, but you just get on each other's nerves sometimes. Well, for me, maybe that's more statement about me. Dougie DeVito is here. How you doing there, brother? I think great. Is that a new picture of you too? Got new pictures you want up here. Not nude, new. What do we got going on here? Kurt Fraser yelled at him. Yeah, I remember you told me that. Yeah. I know that's a rare. Most hockey guys, they take a lot of pride in being good. Excuse me, with fans and everything. That's kind of a hockey thing. In fact, you're right. It's interesting you say that about Kurt Fraser because, we've had cases like that where if a guy's being a jerk. I remember Ron Duguay. This is a few years, 4 or 5 years ago. We were at some charity game, and a young boy wanted to come along and take a selfie, and Dukes wouldn't do it. And I was like, hey, Dukes, what are you doing? Come on, kid wants to take a selfie. But Dukes is really good. He explained to me after that, his brand is his looks. It's not all it is, but it's largely his looks. So he really makes sure that he doesn't have bad pictures out there himself. So with the selfie, he can't control. I mean, there's somebody else taking a selfie, and then they've got it, and they can do what they want with it. So he had a rationale for it. So once he told me that, then I kind of understood it. Like, it wasn't like he was saying to the kid, "You can't do it." I think he maybe said, "Listen, why don't we have somebody else take our picture together?" Then have talk to people that when he's at events, he'll go to people at events that are taking pictures. Okay, we can use that one. And again, it's understandable because that is his brand. His looks are his brand. Same way with me. My brand is more the way I talk. The energy I bring to the room and all that kind of stuff. So, so I'm really aware that if I'm going to an event, then I'm going there to really, get into it, really be at the event and they make a difference. And, when you do it all the time too, like the school's out recently, PS 236, I think it was in Brooklyn. When I leave, the kids are all, "Oh, Tommy, can we be best friends?" And so you tell you really got to them. You haven't just showed up there. So it's rewarding when you leave. So I do this joke around, I think we talked about, where if I start shaking their hands, I go American Lumberjack Association, like I'm sawing the log. So I'm just going back and forth. And so that you see at the end when I'm leaving that they're all doing that to each other. So you tell you really made a difference. So it's cool. It's a good feeling. Ben Wilson sit at the bar and talk to himself. No, it doesn't surprise me a bit. No, yeah, he was a different dude. One of the few guys that I would say, I look forward to meeting Clark Gillies and Bob Nystrom and Tonelli and Bourne and all those guys that I played against. We used to try to sometimes did beat the crap out of each other. Paul Holmgren, Glenn Cochran, guys that you play hard against. They played hard. You look forward to meeting them. They were hockey players, and there's many other guys like that too. It's just Ben Wilson would be the one guy I think most people around the league just would like. Well, I don't want to be near this guy. He's just a weird dude. And it's too bad. Maybe he had something wrong with him too. I don't know, but I mean, you tell me stuff like that where he's sitting at the bar talking to himself. That's not a good sign. I have the advantage. I have the podcast, so when I talk, I guess I'm really technically talking to myself right here, but I can only see myself, but I know you guys are out there. So yeah, he's a different dude. It is true, like doing this podcast too, the Full Change podcast. It's been really cool getting on guys like I use Ryan Vandenbush for example because of one of the most recent ones, and I really make a point now. I've learned I don't want to do research about the player. Actually, Andy Sutton kind of got mad at me because I started asking him questions. He says, "Didn't you do any research?" And I explained, "No, that's not the way I do it. I want to learn about you on the show so that everybody else that's listening learns about you at the same time." So Ryan Vandenbush was a good example where I just only knew him as this guy that would stand there and throw punches 100 miles an hour and fight anybody. So that's my view of what I had. Obviously, he's a character guy. Obviously, there's more to it. So we talked about the fighting and everything. And if you guys listened to it, it was pretty cool because then we got into talking about his life now. Things he's done, now he's into the cannabis world, the psilocybin, growing and selling it. And talking about how his knowledge of that. So it's cool to see those guys that have, you saw him in a certain way as a player. And now they've moved on and done other things in life. And the guys that stay in the hockey game, that's great too. But I also like the guys that have broken away from the whole hockey world and are doing something different. They're not just remembered as being hockey players. That still helps them in their business because they did the same thing with me when people. I've got much better when I introduce myself. I'm Tom Laidlaw. I used to play for the New York Rangers. If at first a lot of guys, myself included, didn't want to do that because it seems like you're bragging or arrogant, but people want to know that. Then it's pretty cool. Like people they're excited about meeting former athletes. So you tell them, and you don't say it in the arrogant way. It's a matter of fact. It's Tom Laidlaw, especially if it's a hockey event. If I'm going someplace else, it's really not appropriate. Then I don't bring it up. So let me see here. We had a USA hockey game. And would play and just sit here. They're like psycho. We had is that right? You just it's funny you tell me that story. It doesn't surprise me one bit. So no, actually, and I apologize because I've last couple of weeks I didn't. 2 weeks ago I wasn't feeling well. I don't know what happened last weekend. I didn't get the thing done. No, going to my youngest son Cody. He lives up in Stamford, Connecticut. Lives in a really really nice building. Get the pool, and I think they got a saltwater pool. And the barbecues and a whole bit, so we'll cook out, have some burgers and nothing special. We were going to go to Shane, the oldest ones, hang out with Maverick, but things now going to get complicated when these events take place. But I was met Harold Snips. He was scary. Yeah, he was, wasn't he? The big mustache and everything. Yeah, that's funny. Like I said, though, it's been so cool doing this Full Change podcast because guys like Danny Gare that I really didn't know that well. Don Murdoch I met, but really you get a chance to know him better. Tom Smith, the producer, has done a fantastic job of reaching out to guys and getting all kinds of different guys. Like a guy like Rick Zarmo, who I played against, really never even met him before, had him on the show. So it's been nice to meet them now and see more as people, not just hockey players. So really interesting stories. What is this? New replacement. That's good. This is a good one. Nice. I like it. Very good. That's a good one. So my stance on hot dogs. So we have like a national hot dog day, and then the hot dog eating contest. Like I said, it's as bad as smoking cigarettes. Like you have a national cigarette smoking day, and then have a cigarette smoking contest. But Joey Chestnut. So he was told he can't be in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest because he's now a spokesperson for this meatless hot dog or something. But then it comes out that his main competition, they're doing something on Netflix and getting paid a bunch of money for it. So he's he's done a good job. Got a lot of attention all of a sudden because he's told he can't do the Nathan's hot dog thing. I think I got that correct. And now all of a sudden he's going on Netflix. So smart marketing on his part. My aunt did Jerry Corbin in the 70s when he was like, so wow, very cool. King Kong Korab. So when I was with the Kings, he had played with the Kings, and he was retired at that point. So he'd come to one of our games, and he came in the locker room after the game, and I blocked a bunch of shots, probably because I gave the puck away so many times. So I blocked a bunch of shots, and he was all fired up because we played against each other and everything. So hey Jerry, hey Tom, what are you doing? He said, oh man, you're unbelievably blocking all the shots. I'll never forget. He was all excited because not many people, there's more played like he played. So that was a pretty funny guy. And it is nice meeting these guys too. So we got Randy Hillier used to play. Maybe played in Pittsburgh. I think he played in Boston too. And we really never even knew each other. But for some reason, I guess we played a lot alike. So when I was in Pittsburgh there a couple of years ago at a game, and it was invited up to Mary Lemieux's box suite, and Randy Hillier was there. I know we got excited to meet each other because more than anybody, I guess because we played the same kind of game. It was just kind of funny. We laughed at each other like, "Hey, great to meet you." So it is funny when you play guys that kind of played the same style of game. All right, everybody. So we're closing in on an hour here. I'll get rid of the hiccups. I'll be fine. Don't worry. Maybe I won't. I'm going to have the hiccups the rest of my life. Hillier was tough, though. He was tough. So everybody, it is Father's Day. So let's make sure again, we should be, like we talked about, should be doing this all the time, but really be checking in on everybody. I guess it's a special day for fathers, but the whole 988 hotline for suicide prevention and mental health, shoulder check mentality, just reaching out to people all over the place. I'm trying to back away a little bit, maybe do a little less social media for a while. Remember when I was on Survivor, I took like a 6 or 7 week. Obviously, I couldn't do it. I took a 6 or 7 week break from it. It's kind of nice in some ways to get away from it. You get, I can see where young people again get some mental health issues because they see these, all these beautiful people going on vacation, and women in bikinis and handsome guys and everybody in fantastic shape. It's just not the real world. But you get if you're too wrapped up by the social media world, that you start to think that is the world, but it's not. In most cases, those people aren't really like that. There's photoshopping and there's a lot of people in fantastic shape and everything. But so everybody, let's really make sure we're taking care of young people, old people. Have a fantastic weekend. I guess I will see. We will not be having a show on Monday. We're actually at the same time I'm on with Chris Nyland recording his show, which will be interesting. So I guess I won't see you again for another week until next Thursday. So everybody have a fantastic Father's Day, great weekend, great week. Let's be safe out there.